Today's guest is an absolute powerhouse with over 8 years of coaching experience and the owner of Discipline Base. She's transformed thousands of lives mentally, physically, and emotionally. A self-made millionaire by 25, Dij has built her life around one unshakable code: being more disciplined. Her coaching is unorthodox, unapologetic, and not for the faint-hearted, but it works. Get ready for a conversation that will challenge your excuses and raise your standards.
So let's get right into the hard-hitting questions. What is one thing you think most people misunderstand about you?
I think the biggest thing when they look at my success, whether it's from a business perspective or my relationship or my body or, my fitness stuff, it's easy for you, and it's the most common one that I get, and it's lucky. Like, you're a lucky person. You just got lucky. And I think that that's the biggest thing, because it wasn't easy for me in business. Like, it was actually really fucking hard. It was really fucking hard. My first year of business, when I left and I went online, like full-time online, I was crying myself to sleep for like 9 months straight. I wasn't making profit. I was investing so much into myself. I was working massive fucking days, and no one saw that. They saw what I needed them to see, which was the marketing and promoting my things and stuff like that. But yeah, it's easy for me. Even like the body stuff, now I have my dream body. I'm training for an ultra marathon. I've done all these really cool things. It's easier for you. Well, no, it's not, because I also struggled with binge eating. I also had PTSD. I also had binge spending, binge this, binge that, addicted to all the things that everyone has been through. And I guess that's the biggest thing that I almost get protective over, because I'm like, oh, you motherfucker. Like, you don't know how hard this was. You don't know how much I struggled to have what I have today. I didn't come from a family that it was easy. I have two immigrant parents. They came to Australia when my mum was 20, my dad was 25 or 26, with two kids, no English, no money, and a suitcase, no family, nothing. I've got no family here in Australia. I've got family friends that we've created a family with. And yeah, like, it was a fucking slog. My mum was never around. She worked 2 jobs. My older brothers raised me, which is why I have a very bro demeanor. They got me ready for school. I don't have any memories of my mum being there. I have memories of my brothers being there. My brother was there at my graduation. My mum wasn't there. Like all these little things that, oh, it's so much easier for you and it's so much this for you. It's like, no, fuck you. It's not. It's absolutely not. I was willing to do what was required of me, and from like a actionable standpoint and an emotional standpoint, because, being successful was emotionally really hard for me, because I struggled so much with not good enoughness and unworthiness and all this kind of stuff. So, I had to do so much healing. I've been with my mentor who's been like fucking in the trenches with me for 5 years. 5 fucking years, every fortnight on a call, talking about what I'm experiencing, what I'm going through, what I'm navigating personally, business. And it's been really difficult. So I think, that. And I think, and to go into a different direction, people always think that I'm like hyper masculine. And it's so funny. Like, even when I was coming here, I was with a client yesterday. She's like, where are you staying? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't fucking know. She's like, when did you book it? I'm like, ages ago. She's like, do you know when you're checking in? I was like, no. Like, I'm just like chill as fuck.
Yeah.
She was freaking out for me. I'm like, don't stress. It's all good. And I had my call with my mentor, and my phone was on 13%. I did a call sitting in the gutter. I was like, I don't know how to get this key, but I was just like, chill, And I think a lot of people just, she's so masculine, she's so this, when I may present as masculine because I have an athletic body and I wear shit that says do better, but I'm actually like fucking chill, So I think that's a big misconception that I get. Yeah.
I find it so interesting about the she's so lucky and people projecting that, because I feel like that's the easiest way for somebody to just stay where they are. Like, you look at what other people are doing and the quote unquote success that they've had, and you go, well, she's so lucky. She was born into a rich family, whatever, insert whatever thing here. And it's just an excuse for you to just never do any of the work, never work harder because it's out of reach because this girl's so lucky. So you go.
I was going to say, I think people also pedestal people, because then it makes it creates that divide where it's like, oh, that's something that they can achieve, but I can't, further onto that. but that creates such an issue because then it's not giving you the permission to also go after it.
Amen.
When it comes to discipline, which I know is your whole bread and butter, but I want to talk to the women who might look up to you and think, fuck, I wish I was more disciplined, but they just feel so far away from that being their reality. And let's just say it's a fitness girly who's just starting on day one. What would your like top tips be to just actually getting the ball rolling and going from feeling so unmotivated and quote unquote lazy to the opposite where they're getting up and getting shit done and reaching their goals?
Yeah, I would say same, sis. Like that's where I started. And my biggest ethos is I want you at the end of the day to look yourself in the mirror, butt-ass naked, no clothes on, no accolades, no Instagram, no facade, no one around, and actually like the person that you are. Because there was a version of me that at the end of the day, when I took my clothes off and I was about to go for a shower, I actually didn't like the person that I was. I didn't like how I showed up. I didn't like how I treated people. I didn't like the way that I spoke about people. I didn't like the way that I spoke to people. So I think that I get it. Like I was there. You know, I really fucking struggled for a really long period of my time, from the ages of probably 19, because something really traumatic happened in my life when I was 19, to about 21 were the worst years of my life. And discipline changed my life. It helped me become the person that I wanted to be. So I think the first actionable thing that people can go out and do, especially if you're a gym girly, it's the simple shit. When your program says 12 reps, do fucking 12 reps. Don't do 8. Don't do 10. Do 12. Because you know you can, you know, and it's breaking the habit of letting your excuses get the better of you. So when your program says an RPE of 8, you know, rate of perceived exertion, do fucking 8. Like, just do the simple things and do them really well. You know, an ethos in my world is you don't need to add more into your life. Start subtracting. What are the things that you know you do, you say, you entertain, that are getting in the way of being, that are getting in the way of you being the person that you want to be? An example of that is like something that I'm doing is I cheat my reps, or I always miss my ab workout. Right? It's less about missing the abs at the end of your program and more about fucking following through. And what do you tell yourself that lets you get out of jail free card? Like, what do you convince yourself that the abs are not that important? Like, you say something to yourself. And if you can break that pattern, you will become the person that you've always wanted to be. So for me, it's do the simple shit and do it well. Another ethos that I have, especially for the gym girlies, is like your car. Right?
I love this.
Keep your car fucking clean. And the reason being is majority of us spend anywhere between 20 grand to 100 grand on a car, and we treat it like shit. Okay, that is a good indication of, number one, you don't value money, your own money. So the best money mindset, like this money mindset shit, it's your car. Start with your car. Start with your house, because those are the things that you're putting your hard-earned fucking money into. So respect it, treat it well, treat it right, clean it. One of my clients, she has 5 kids. You know, she owns an e-com business. She's thriving. She's got 5 kids and her car's probably cleaner than the average 20-year-old who's just like couldn't give a fuck. It's things like that. It's doing the basic shit and doing them really well. And to go back into, just create a no list. Like create a things of, and get really specific. What are some things that you commit to not doing anymore? Don't budge, don't waver, get specific. Then print that piece of paper out, give it to your partner, give it to your mum and your dad, your brothers, whoever is the closest to you, you know, give it to each other. Print it out, sign it, and say, I give you full permission to, and sign it, like literally print out a piece of paper. I give you full permission to call me out if I do these patterns and behaviors, because I should not be healing alone. This is the problem that we have. People are trying to heal alone, which is why they never get far, because they get away with it because no one knows that they're trying to work on it. No one knows their shady behaviors, right? You've got your private life, right? You've got your public life, your private life, and then your secret life. So the public life is everything that people see on social media, what you present out to the world. Your private life is what you tell maybe your friends and your partner. Your secret life is the things that you do in secret that no one fucking knows. And that's what's stopping you from getting the goals that you want. Write them all out on a piece of paper. Things that you do, say, entertain, think, sign it, give it to everyone, give it at least 5 copies, and then say, call me out if I do this.
I love that.
And when you do that, they have the reassurance of like, no, but you told me to do this and this is a sign. So, you know, a lot of the time we want someone to hold us to a standard, but the moment that they do, we shame them. And we're like, you're fucking this and you're fucking that. Like, how dare you fucking say that? I'm having a bad day, Jesse, you know, whatever. But he's like, whoa, you literally asked me to do this. You asked me to hold you to a standard. I'll never forget Jesse. I remember this was before I'd lost 15 kilos. And I was complaining to Jesse one day about my weight. And he said, Dia, when are you going to do something about it? And I was like, you know, it wasn't but you're perfect, babe, and you're so amazing. And like, he literally, and he was so off it that day because I'd probably said it so many times and he'd been sick of my shit. He just goes, Dear, I'm sick of you saying this. When are you going to do something about it? And it wasn't until that moment was the moment I actually lost the weight. You know, I've lost 15 kilos and I've kept it off for ages. It was because I asked for someone to hold me to a standard. Then when they did, I actually received it. The problem that we have is I ask for someone to call me out, hold me to a standard, but then when they do, I block it out because my ego is so precious and I don't want to actually deal with how that made me feel, what came up, I was insecure and blah, 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 blah. So I think that when you give them the piece of paper and you sign it, it's comforting for them because they're like, okay, she's agreed to this. We've signed this. This is a legal binding document right now, and I can do it comfortably. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. When we started our deficits, and we've spoken on the podcast about this before, we told each other what we were doing. We had a time frame. We told our partners, and we said to the people around us, if you're going to invite us out for dinner, I'm coming in a meal prep container because I've got this specific goal. I told my partner, don't offer me food. I restarted my deficit post my holiday yesterday, and he threw me a chocolate on the couch, and then he literally ran over and he grabbed it. He's like, sorry, I forgot you were starting your deficit again. Even things like that, it's like the small little things that hold you more accountable, and then you're less likely to cheat your diet and then have the excuses of, I can't lose the weight, insert whatever thing here. I want to redirect this question to a business question quickly. We're going to be jumping all over the place, so buckle in. When people are growing a business, I want to know from your perspective, what is one thing that most people get wrong when they are trying to build or when they're in the building phases of their business?
I'm going to speak to this from 2 lenses because I know a lot of your audience are coaches, but I have been coaching so many people outside of the coaching industry. So like interior designers, teachers, therapists, e-com owners. So I'll speak to it from 2 lenses. Lens number 1 is coaches. The biggest mistake coaches make is, and I'm going to say this with so much grace, it's they treat their business and they still act like high school girls. And I'm going to say this with grace in the sense that there's a confidence coach out there preaching confidence, but the moment someone's making more money than her, and especially another woman, it's like they get so triggered. It's like their whole body freezes. You've got a nervous system coach teaching nervous system regulation, but then when somebody else is more successful than them, their whole nervous system shits itself and they shame themselves and they do all this and they do all that. So I think number 1, it's like master your fucking craft and like be in integrity in that. If you're a fitness coach preaching empowerment, yet another fitness coach is more successful than you, don't make content about her. Don't shame her. I thought you were an empowerment coach. Like, I think there's that. So I think number 1, from a coaching perspective, the biggest mistake people are making are they're not actually in integrity with their craft.
Louder.
And they are acting like high school girls. And it makes sense and it's showing in their business. And I made that mistake. Don't get me wrong. I made the mistake. I tried to scale a business through my wounds. I tried to scale a business still acting like a high school girl. It didn't work. And my nervous system was fried. So I think like that's the biggest thing that I see in coaches. The second thing is like there's a slog period. I was talking to my Uber driver yesterday and she was so cute. She was a young girl from Pakistan who'd come here 4 years ago. And she said something. I was like, facts, sis, like fucking go off. She said, the most successful people that you know are the ones who know how to control their temptations and their desires. And that young women in their 20s, we have this thing where we want to live it all and do it all and have the balance. And, you know, everyone on social media is saying that it should be balanced and you get to have it all and you get to have this and you get to have that. And there's no sacrifice that comes with it, but there is, right? And you've got to understand that there is a level of sacrifice that does come with building a business, just like there is with anything. I think it's a really dangerous message that we're sharing on social media, that you get to have it all and and it's like, because there are people who it's not happening for them overnight, and they've got to learn marketing skills, business skills, team delegation skills, automation skills. Like, you came in wanting to be a fitness coach and now you're having to learn to run a business. That's fucking hard. And let that be okay. Like, let's stop trying to fight that. It's like when someone's trying to lose weight, you're gonna be hungry, and that fucking sucks. It's not a nice feeling. But if you don't know how to deal with hunger in a calorie deficit, you're fucked, right? The same thing goes with business. There's growing pains, there's emotional shit, there's nervous system shit, there's trauma shit, there's just the logistical side of business, there's the math, there's the I'm scared that I'm going to make the wrong decision. There's so many elements to it. And I think that people being under the assumption that it should be easy and it should be quick, like, let that go. Let it go. And I think it's actually really dangerous that we're saying this to people, because it's giving people the wrong impression. And then when it's not quick, it's not fast, they feel like a fucking failure. And that's what pisses me off, because I'm like, it's not that you're a failure. It's that your audience is still trying to, you know, trust you. It's that you're learning how to market yourself for the first time. Like, you've never had to do this before. You probably worked at a gym that got all your leads for you. Now you have to do that. Now you have to know how to converse with leads, because a lot of people fuck that up. And that's an art form. Like, selling's art. Business is art. Scaling is art. Emails are art, which means art is what? It's not like there's a process and just follow it and you'll be successful. It's messy, but it's beautiful and it's fun. If you don't love the process, you're not going to love creating art. So I think like that. And then the other, like, just zooming out, it's knowing what to do and not doing it. Oh, this is a conversation for so many business owners. They know what to do. They know they should be going live. They know they should be selling. They know they shouldn't be on Canva. They know they shouldn't be going to Kmart for another time to redecorate their office for another time. It's like they know what to do, but they don't do it, which is where my thing is I love closing the gap between someone knowing what to do and someone actually doing it. And you and I have had conversations where you've come in with a problem and I'm like, okay, what do you think you should do in this situation? And you'll say it to me. And I said, now go again. Say it one more time. You know, I remember the last time you plugged in with a problem, I said, what do you think I'm going to say? And you said X. And I said, now go a little bit deeper with what you think I'm going to say. And then you went a little bit deeper. And then I added on top of that. And it's like, you knew, but you didn't want to do it. And that's what I really love. And that's the really big thing that I see with business owners. It's they all know what to do, but they're just not doing it. And they're not doing it for so many different reasons. It could be a boundary thing, an energetic thing, a nervous system thing, a relationship thing, an emotional, like there's so many factors in that. So I like kind of figuring that out. But yeah, I think there's so many parts to that.
Yeah. We were talking about on the drive here actually, because we're filming more podcast after this episode, and we were talking about how everybody wants, or everyone's always looking for a particular answer for the thing that they already know they could Google, but they just want somebody to tell them something that is that magic pill that's going to fast track their results in business or their deficit or whatever it is. But it's like the missing key is actually taking action. You know, staying true to your word, showing up for yourself, limiting your levels of excuses as well. Yeah, I love that.
I was going to say, when we think about the business owners and coaches that we're friends with, that follow us, that ask us questions, a lot of it comes down to them feeling very chaotic and maybe overwhelmed, and like they're wearing all the hats, especially when they're starting their business. And something that I've dived deeper into this year, and I know that you're all about, and so is Kate, but I wanted your thoughts on, if you're a coach and you're wanting to build your business and you're in the trenches where you're learning and you're grinding and you're doing all the things, right? And you're feeling dysregulated. What would your top things be in terms of actionable steps that they could take to feel more regulated, to feel more calm, so then they can actually process their emotions and move through them to be on the other side in a better place?
I think I have a very different response to these sorts of questions, and it always comes from a lens of self-responsibility. So who are you outside of your business, for starters? Probably a dysregulated human. Like, let's be honest. So the thing is, it's if you are a regulated human outside of your business, it will naturally transfer over. And the issue that I have with business owners is we want to build consistency in the business, but you're not a consistent human. So become a consistent human, and that skill will transfer over into your business, right? It's like, I want to be more regulated in my business. No, be more regulated in your life. And then that will transfer over into your business. And it's kind of like, you know, when someone's trying to go to the gym and they're like, I just want to da-da-da-da-da. And it's just like, I just want to be, how do I track my macros more? Or like, how can I be more consistent? It's like, you've got to do the basics. And then the rest is really easy. So I think if you're a business owner, you're in the fucking trenches and it feels like shit for you right now and you feel not good enough and you're going to sleep and you're thinking, is this worth it? Is this, like, should I do this? Should I just cave in and get a job? Because I was there for a whole year crying myself to sleep with my partner. Ask my partner. I was crying so much. There was one time we went to go for a coffee and Jessie was like, are you all good? And I was just like crying. I was like, I don't know, business and da-da-da. Like, I get it. And I also had to go through that period. I had to go through the period of business sucking because now that I own a really successful one, I appreciate it so much more because I'm like, I slogged for this. This was not easy. This was not given to me. This was really difficult. So I think that it makes me a very smart business owner today. I'm very strict with who I hire. I don't, especially with team, like I have such a high expectation for my team as well because like I built this, and there's a standard that we need to start navigating. So I think that's number one. Look at what are you doing outside of your business that's dysregulating you? Don't worry about the business right now. Who are you outside of the business? Because if you're scrolling, if you're not eating right, if you're not doing these things, it will impact your business. And no amount of strategy that I will give you will ever change the fact that your habits outside of business are shit. So that's number one. Number two is like, okay, cool. Break things down. I think a lot of women, we over dramatize everything. Like, it's, I did a VIP day and she's like, my onboarding system is fucked and I have no strategy. I'm like, all right, well, show me it. And she showed me and I was like, it's not that bad. I'm like, we just need to tidy this up and add this and do that. She was like, oh, true. My offboard, it's just like we over dramatize, which is where discipline comes in. It's like you got to be a little bit more logical. Clean up your business from a strategic standpoint. So your onboarding, your offboarding, your retention strategies, like just tidy them up. You don't have to be perfect. I think people think that if it's not automated, I'm a failure. Like if my onboarding system is not automated and streamlined and doesn't require me, then I'm a piece of shit. No, because there's a season of your business where you don't even need that automated. You've got the time, babe. Fucking make that onboarding the best onboarding you can ever do. Have your scripts ready. Have it in a nice and neat folder. Other than that, it doesn't need to be automated. Everything doesn't have to be this big fucking thing, which is why like I think a lot of business owners just get in their head. But yeah, just tidy up some things behind the scenes. Make sure your schedule is clean. On Mondays, make sure you're doing admin. On Tuesdays, maybe you're servicing your clients. On Wednesdays, go back into creating content. On Thursdays, service your clients. Like create a weekly structure for yourself, whether it's a week A and a week B module or it's just one rotating week, like create some structure for you. And make sure the logistics of your business is all nice and just tidy. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make it tidy. Have some Google folders and stuff like that. And then from a mindset perspective, like this is the moment of your business that you will remember for the rest of your life. I remember the slog more than I remember the wins. Truly, I've been doing so well in business. I remember that though. I don't remember my second 100K cash month. I remember my first, my second, no, my third, no, like everything else is just like, okay, cool. But that season of my business, I remember it like it was yesterday. So I think there's an element of this is the story that you're going to tell one day. So make it a good fucking story. And don't be afraid that it's messy too, because now that I get to tell my story, imagine if I got up here and was like, it was chill. Like it happened. I posted some photos and like got clients and leads were popping through my ass. Everyone would be like, can't relate to that. Next. You know, so you're going to have a good story to tell. And if it's a slog, it's a slog. And hire someone who's done it. It's the cheat sheet. Why are we like resisting hiring fucking help? It's like anything. And you know who's the worst for it? PTs. Oh. We're the ones that like, you know, and being an ex-PT, I get it. I had so much resistance, but we're the ones that like follow the program. That's why you're not getting results. And then when it comes to business, we're like,
out the window.
I don't want that. And I think that there's a lot of ego in PTs, but I do love PTs. You know, I love online coaches and, but they're the ones that are the hardest to kind of like, sis, why aren't you following the steps of someone who's done it? We're giving it to you. So I think there's that as well.
Were you going to go?
No.
I think the ego part's really cool. I kind of want to talk about this for a second because I feel like a lot of coaches, personal trainers, mindset coaches, anyone in the coaching world has a huge ego around outsourcing and asking for help because I feel like they think that they are or they should be further along than they are. And it makes them kind of feel like, oh, well, if I reach out and ask this girl for help and she's doing better than me, but I've been in business for longer than her, I am automatically a failure. So I want to know like your opinion on that. If somebody has the mindset of, I don't want to invest in someone because I'm actually embarrassed that I feel like my business should be X, Y, and Z and it's not.
That's a good question. I think like, I'll answer it in a couple of ways, the way that I like to answer things. The savage way is like, it's more embarrassing that you have a failing business. So just put your hand, like that's more embarrassing. It's not embarrassing to hire. It's embarrassing that you can't hire. So like, that's for starters. The second thing is like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's not that emotional. Doesn't need to be that complex. She's doing more than you. Like, let's go into logic. I remember I used to look at my mentor and be like, she's just got the it factor and she just, you know, I'm never going to be successful at her. And like, why would someone hire me when they can just hire her? And like, this like victim, you know, until one day I decided to be like, okay, well, what is the it factor that you think that she has? I broke it down. I went, okay, she's really good at selling. She's really good at describing her ideal client that when she posts a piece of content, I feel like she's speaking directly to me, which naturally I was her ideal client. So she was a good marketer. She was a good educator. She was confident. So it wasn't that she had the it factor. She had a whole bunch of skills I didn't have. It wasn't that I was a piece of shit and I was a failure. It's she had a whole bunch of skills I didn't have. And that woman who's more successful than you, that's all she has. That's it. It's not that much deeper. It's not because you're not enough and you're this and you're that. It's she has acquired more skills and you're resisting that. And if you hire her, she will help you get those skills 10 times quicker. You know, with you, Kate, and it was like, we worked on your last funnel and I was like, do this, don't do this, don't do this. And you're like, okay, da-da-da-da. You went out and did the thing. And it's like, you got such a good conversion because I had made those mistakes already. And I'm telling you what not to do because I made the mistakes. And now you just got to bypass making those mistakes. That's what it is. And I think that there's nothing to be embarrassed about at all. I've been with my mentor for 5 years. I don't ever see myself running a business without some form of mentor. I think it's silly. I don't think you need them. I don't think that your business will not be successful without them, but why wouldn't you have it? It makes business easier. You get to not make as many mistakes. You get to get someone's done it, you know, and I think that there's a huge thing in that. And what was the question again?
But you pretty much answered
ego
it.
in general, just talking.
Yeah, and I think, going back to the ego part, it's like, I think that a confidence coach will do anything to protect where she is insecure. A nervous system coach will do anything to not feel dysregulated. And it's because they are a master at that craft, whatever you want to call that. But when a confidence coach is getting paid because of her confidence, when she feels insecure, it feels like a threat to her nervous system because I make money from this one thing and this is my thing. Now that you're like that I'm feeling X, that thing must be wrong. So I think there's a lot of ego in coaches because it's their identity. Their craft is their identity. I'm so happy, it's when people look at me, they think that, she's so this and she's so that, and that's perfect. But I'm so happy to admit where I'm not disciplined. Because yes, I'm the disciplined girl, but I'm also not fucking perfect. And that isn't a threat to my ego. I always tell the story that now training for my ultra marathon on my first run with my partner, and I'm so open about this with my clients, I was so insecure. He's an ultra marathon runner. He's so fit. He's incredible. And I remember being like, I feel like a burden to you, Jessie. Like, I feel like you want to run faster and I don't want to, but I'm the disciplined girl. Like, shouldn't you be able to? But no, I felt insecure, and that's so fine. That's my work to do. It's all my shit and conditioning around, whatever. And I told my clients and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's perfect. Like, there's nothing to hide in that, Another example is I was sharing with some clients that I recently finished my certification in nutrition and functional medicine and nutrition. And when I started it, I was like, oh, fuck, there's a lot of science in this. Like, I feel really dumb because in my business, I feel so smart. And I felt myself like not wanting to do it and just, falling into the trap of, why did I sign up around Christmas, like in New Year's? I signed up just before Christmas and New Year's. Why did I do this? Like, I should have just waited and whatever. Until one day I was like, dear, what's the actual problem here? I was like, I feel insecure. Because over here, I love how good I am, and over here I feel really dumb. And that's okay. But the issue is over here, right, feeling really dumb, there are people that are very smart and intellectualize their ego and would say things like, I did another certification because I thought it would make me feel good enough. But then I've realized that I'm worthy enough without the certification, and I don't need another certification to make me feel enough. And it was just like my wound, and I was feeling a bit triggered, so I thought that would solve the problem. And if I said that, everyone would believe it because I'm using a lot of therapy speak. I'm using the spiritualization chat and blah, 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 and no one's going to budge me on that. So I think there's a really big cohort of people, and I've been there. And like I said, I dance. This is why I love having a mentor. It's someone that is unbiased and can oversee my problems because I will intellectualize it too. I will, spiritualize it. I will use the good narrative to fit my agenda. And it wasn't until I was like, oh no, like you just feel dumb. And that's it. That's why you're avoiding it. Of course you're avoiding it because over here, like you never avoid your business because you fucking thrive over there. And that's what you find with coaches. They know how to talk themselves out of doing things, and they know how to say it in a way that convinces themselves and everybody else around them. Because we know the words, we know the language, we know the lingo, and no one's going to challenge that. It's the pregnant lady theory. Don't fucking challenge a pregnant lady. Just let her go through her pregnancy in fucking peace. It's that. But with coaches.
Yeah, I love that.
What's one experience in growing your business and changing your physique that has going through that experience that's changed your perspective for good?
I was thinking about this when you guys sent me the questions, and I want to give two really big examples. For my business, it was my first 100K cash month. I was in Europe. I was on a beach in Greece. I just paid for my mum to go on all expenses, and my OBM, I knew I was going to hit it. And a couple of weeks prior to thinking I was going to hit it, I sent my mentor a message like, I think I'm going to cross the 6 figures cash. And she said, don't worry about that. Worry about what you need to do. Like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't. And I was like, yeah, true. Like, I don't want to get attached because what if it doesn't happen and blah, blah, blah. And my OBM texted me. She was like, you fucking did it. Like, we did it. And I was just like, what the fuck? I'm in Greece. Like, what the fuck's happening? Called my mentor, kind of told her, and just had a moment because she'd been my mentor for so long. She's seen, like, I'll never forget one time I called her. I was crying and I was like, why hasn't this happened to me? And she goes, you're dear fucking Djukic. Like, this is not you. This is not the woman that I fucking know. And she like fucking drilled me. And she's been through that. So when I had hit it, I called her and I was like, I fucking did it, you know? And I was so nervous to tell my mum and my brother and my sister-in-law. And I was like, do I tell him? How do I tell him? And like, it was just, I just kind of like put my towel over my head and had a bit of a moment and like cried to myself. I was like, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him. And I was like, guys, I've got something to tell you. You're going to want to sit down. You're going to want to sit down for this. And I say to him, I just hit over 6 figures for this month in my business. And my brother, just being my brother, was like, you're still a fucking loser. And he didn't say it in a way that was like belittling me. He said it in a way of like, that's cool, but you're still my loser little sister. And it was what I needed to hear in that moment, because a lot of people have a fear, and I had the same fear of, if I become successful and rich, I'm going to be isolated, judged, and people are going to not see me the same way. And when I started becoming really successful, I didn't really change that much. You know, I still lived with my parents. I still was at home with my older brothers because we were all living at home at the time. And I wasn't buying designer. Like, I wasn't living this luxury life. I was still just there was a little sister that was at home all the time. So hearing that, I was like, oh, nothing changes. Like, money didn't change me. It just made me a better human, to be honest. And I think that moment was just so powerful. And my mum ended up buying me this ring. And my brother and my sister-in-law, who are amazing, they shared a dinner. And it's like, you know, I just made all the money and they're like, you know, so happy for me. But then we never spoke about it again. Like, we've never spoken about it. We don't speak about my business that often. We don't speak about how much I make. Like, it's obviously known. So that was just a pivotal moment of my life, because it was like, yeah, the money is cool, but it doesn't change you.
Yeah.
It just allows you to do really cool things. Like, and I've done great things with my money. So that's number one. I think with my body, it was, and my weight loss journey. So I've lost 15 kilos, and, you know, I used to be someone who was binge eating and binge this. And I think that my last deficit that I did was maybe 6 months ago. And I remember being hungry, because that's what happens when you're in a deficit. And I just was like, and you're not a shit person because you're hungry. And I say that in a way, like, I just had this light bulb of like, you're not pulling the hanger card. You're not treating Jessie like shit. Your business is still thriving. Your staff don't know that you're experiencing this. Your clients don't know. You're not reaching to food to self-soothe. Like, you're actually self-soothing. You're actually regulating. You're actually experiencing the hunger and like, okay, cool, and talking yourself through it. So I had a moment of like, oh, the work works, you know, and my last deficit was so easy. Like, I went into it thinking, you know, I'm the disciplined girl. Like, I'm going to be so challenged. Like, I haven't challenged my discipline in so long. I can't wait to document this. And I was like, it was so easy. It was actually too easy. That I was like, what did I do wrong? Should I do it? Like, you know, so I think that was cool. I had a moment of like, oh, the work actually works. And I've been doing this shit for a really long time. And all of my skills have kind of acquired, and it was a process. So yeah, I would say those are the two biggest moments. And also me wanting to lose weight and my partner just fucking drilling me and being like, are you going to do it or not?
We love it. I love like the lose little sister thing, like can relate. Having an older brother, it's such a humbling experience. They will always bring you back down to reality within 2 seconds. Okay, I have a question around dealing with hate online. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say that you're controversial at all, but I would say that you have a particular way of doing things. And like you mentioned, like being more of this quote unquote masculine and not feminine energy online. How do you deal with getting any hate online or any hate / has that ever stopped you from going after and building your dream life?
I want to add to that. And do you think people misunderstand you? Our question together.
Yeah. Do I think people misunderstand me? Yeah, fuck yeah. They do, and they, like, obviously I haven't shared parts of my story today or any parts of my story. And I think that once people hear my story, they go, you make a lot of sense. You know, even just like how I was raised, what I went through, what I had to continue to go through and stuff like that. I think people go, oh, okay, you make a lot of sense to me. And I think for me just to add on to the misunderstanding thing as well, I'm very passionate. And I'm very passionate because there's two reasons. Number one is I've lost a lot of people in my life. So I do have a very you don't know when the last day is going to be. And I have a sense of urgency to me, which I think that in a world that's telling you to slow down, someone who has a sense of urgency to her is very and that comes from so many different things in my life. But then the second thing is if people understood not only me, but my family lineage. So I'm the only female Djukic born in Australia. And my mum doesn't have siblings here. Both my parents' family live overseas. And I think people are very ignorant to the fact that there are things that go on in the world and we are so lucky to be in Australia. And because I know that I'm so lucky, I use that. And I think that and because it's my family that struggle, it's so close to me. It's like when someone dies of cancer, it's sad, but it's not that sad until your mum dies of cancer. And then you're like, I need to get in the charities. I need to do my part. I need to do this. It's kind of like that. You don't realize your privilege until it's a family member who's experiencing the other side of privilege. So I think that's why I'm so misunderstood and I have such a level of urgency to me. It's because the women in my life didn't have the chance that I have. Period, point blank, full stop, no arguing about that. And for them to try and be successful is 10 times harder than what it is for me. So I'm going to do something about it. And I'm very, very no one can challenge me in that because I've seen it. I've gone there. So I think there's that. But to deal with the hate online, I think I want to answer this from a couple of different lenses. Number one, the savage lens, the emotional, the logical, and the spiritual lens. So the savage version of me, which is the ego version of me, because it's all good to be savage until you're alone in your bed and you're still thinking about that person or that things, But the savage version of me is okay, cool. Realistically, someone who has maybe the $1 million business, has the body, has a fantastic sex life or relationship, has a really good, healthy family dynamic. Are they creating content about other people? Probably not, because I'm that person. I've never been closest to my family. My relationship has never been better. I have the body, I have the fitness accolades, I have the business. I have no fucks to create content about other people, passive aggressively or just directly. I just don't care because my life is great. So I think that's number one. It's it's the famous quote of no one's hating on you that's doing better than you. I'll leave it there. The emotional part of me is okay, cool. It does hurt getting hate online. And especially when it's you're putting yourself out there. And I say this from my own perspective. I put myself out there and I say things that I know that if I said it in a way that was more palatable, that was more how everyone wanted me to say it, I would make more money. I would make 10 times more money. So I'm doing something that I know it's contributing to me not getting clients, but that's who I am, right? And we all preach authenticity until you don't like the way that I'm authentic. I just told you I have 2 older brothers who basically raised me. I shared a room with my older brothers till I was 16. My older brother was 18. Put a bunk bed that was, this is context for my family, 2 single beds drilled on top of each other that had no railings. We had to run and jump until I was 16 and he was 18. So, I think that it sucks because it's I'm just being me and I'm getting so much fucking slack for this. And I could change and I did change and it was beneficial for me. But I was unhappy. My partner called me out on it. I was more palatable. I did change my delivery until my partner said, you're trying to be like X, that's not you. And it's that's what I find is the hardest part of when I'm with my family, when I'm with the people that I love the most, I can be authentically me. But then when I get online and I'm authentically me, it's not received well. I think that stings, and it stings because there's a lot of emotional shit that comes with it. So with that, get a mentor that can help you with a very niche problem like this. Because when you tell your partner, I'm getting hate online, he's like, who cares? My partner's just end. Like he doesn't care. But if I say to my mentor, like, I'm getting hate online, and she'll be like, I get it. And it fucking sucks, dear. And that's sad. And that's unfortunate. And I feel pretty validated in it that it does suck. So there's that. The logical part is like, you've got to build your tolerance to it. Like you do have to build your tolerance to it. So if anyone knows like your window of tolerance, you've got your green zone. It just expands over time. Like truly it does. And I think that logically, I always just come back down to, what is this trying to teach me in this moment? Why is this actually happening for me? And also there's always two sides to a perspective, in the sense that I'm a beef tallow girly, right? Which is fat I'm rubbing on my face. I know that. And there are people like dermatologists out there like, do you know you're rubbing fat on your face? You're an idiot. I know, but I like it and it works for me and that's okay. And she's probably like, that's unethical and that's dangerous and you're a fucking idiot for getting people on beef tallow. It's all good, you know? So I think I consciously understand there's always two sides to an argument. And I think people lack critical thinking. When people hear the word discipline, they hear the word shame.
Yeah.
I didn't say shame. I said discipline. You need discipline. They heard I'm a piece of shit. So you don't see what I'm saying from what I'm actually saying. You see it through the lens that you want to see it. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. We see the world on the world that we focus on. You focus on the shit, you're going to have a shit life. You focus on the good, you're going to have a good life. You focus on the shit that someone's trying to say, that's all you'll see. But if you focus on the good that someone's trying to say, that's all you'll see. It's like David Goggins, right? He's fucking, like, he will say wild shit. David Goggins changed my fucking life. And when I went to see David Goggins, he changed, like, I'm talking grown-ass men in their 60s were standing up, my partner included, an ex-addict, stood up there and said, you changed my life. But to some people, David Goggins is the worst person in the fucking world. He is destructive, he's this. But when you saw like grown-ass men stand there and sob their eyes out and say, your book changed my life, your book made me responsible, like, see the good in what he's trying to say. Stop looking for the shit. I think that's what I get. It's like, why don't you put aside your fucking ego and try and see the good in what I'm trying to say instead of just finding the bad? So I think logically I understand that. And then spiritually, I think that I know I'm out here to do big things, and I know that like God gets hate. Like people misunderstand God. So they're going to like, you know, I'm not God. And like it's going to happen. And I asked to be this person. I asked to share my story. I asked for all of this. And this is what comes with the territory. So I think just accepting that and understanding that this isn't happening to me. This is happening for me. And what can I learn from every single interaction? And, you know, even the last time I got a decent amount of hate, I plugged into my mentor and we didn't just like, we did the emotional thing of like, okay, what's coming up for you emotionally? Let's actually unpack this and I'll coach you through it. Because it's not the hate that's triggering, it's what you make the hate mean, right? It's what you then decide what's going to happen post-hate, which is like someone makes a post about me and saying discipline and whatever. It's like literally about me, but let's pretend they've done the passive-aggressive thing. It's like what I'm fearing is not what they've said. I don't care what you've said. I fear what you're going, like I fear that what's going to happen from now moving forward. So I actually have to get coached on that. And then I go into like, okay, cool, what can I learn? So I think that, yeah, you just got to let yourself deal with the process of it. We never got taught to deal with hate. So it's very new and it's something that a lot of people are still trying to navigate. I also have like the savage version of me. Is like, if you saw me in the street, you wouldn't fucking dare say this to my face. And like the boxer in me is like,
let's go 1v1.
Oh man, you would not say this to my fucking face. But you know, let's not go there. So yeah. I think that there's so many. Has it contributed? Has it ever deterred me? Yeah, for sure. There's been moments where I'm like, is this worth it? Even now, you know, even this year, I had a really big season of like, you've got the business, you've got a lot of money, you could put this money elsewhere and close this all down and you would live a very good life for a very long time. Is this worth it? Like I actually sat with that for a very long time this year of like, is this all worth it? Is every time I fucking open Instagram and someone sends me something made about me, like, do I need to do this? Like, do I care about impacting that much? And I had to sit with that because, you know, at the start of my journey, my mentor once said to me, put $50 in somebody's mailbox and don't tell a single person, and you will know in that moment whether you actually like impacting people or not, or you like what comes with impacting, which is the validation. And this year I had to sit with, like, do I like it that much? Do I care about it that much? Do I want to help people that much? Because this is getting out of hand. And the answer was yes. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll just go fuck myself.
I'll just stay on my mission. Yeah. Something that you actually taught me, which I fucking love, is when I was having an identity crisis about posting myself online, because I'm quite open, honest, direct, and I would say quite savage as well. And like you, it gets met with a lot of backlash. It gets met with a lot of, you can't be too masculine, you can't be too this, whatever the fucking thing is. And one thing that you said to me that is etched in my brain forever was, why the fuck do you give a shit about random people that you don't know online and trying to create this, you know, fake identity and fake facade? You should care about the people who actually know you, calling you out and saying that's not you. And that was like a light bulb moment for me, because same thing like what Jesse says to you. If my partner sees hate online, he's like, loser. Like, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, who gives a fuck? But for me, I'm like, oh my God, that's like full challenging my identity. But you being like, why are you creating this like fake persona, I say in quotations, online, because you care about random people that are never going to meet you in real life versus who you are behind the scenes.
Yeah. We had that conversation of like, are these people going to be at your funeral?
Yeah.
And I think for me, when I lost myself in the online space, when I became a coach, I tried to be like every other coach, which I think is a rite of passage. Everyone goes through that. You come in hot and heavy, and then you see how everyone's doing it and you think that you should do it that way, which I went through that. And I was trying to impress other people in the industry rather than actually being true to myself. And one day I sat with like, okay, cool. Well, who I am online and who I am behind the scenes are two different people. And my partner called me out on that. And these people aren't going to be at my funeral. My friends and my family are. And I have a responsibility to them. What they say about me, I care about, you know? And so funny, we just had Easter. And my sister, my god sister, who I would say like she's my cousin, but my god sister's partner, he wants to start a business. And he was saying to her that he's really struggling with time. And she said to him, have you ever heard Dia complain about not having time? No, so you have time. So it's like, if I'm impacting them, you know, that's all I care about. Obviously like my clients and stuff, but who they see online, like they see the same person. And that's all I care about, because you guys basically raised me. So you guys know me actually best. I asked them the other day, how was I like as a little girl? And this is the thing, I had a client come to me a few weeks ago, and I'm sorry if we're going over time, but I had a client come to me a few weeks ago going through the same identity crisis. I said, go and ask your parents who you were as a little girl. And if it matches...
That's what I did. That's what you got me to do as well, like similar.
Yeah, and it's like if it matches who you are now or it doesn't, there's an incongruence. When I asked my parents how I actually asked my god sister on the weekend, how was I like as a little girl? She just goes, I just remember you being the bossiest little girl. And it's like, yeah, that's still who I am, right? And my parents said, my dad was like, you had he said, you're a fighter. I literally am still yelling at this. I'm yelling at this mic. He's like, you have the biggest heart in the world. Like, I'm honestly a soft cock. On the weekend, my dad called his brother overseas and got off the phone and started crying. My mum was crying. It was like this whole thing. Obviously, they missed their family. And I was just like sobbing my eyes out. Like, I'm a soft cock, right? I cry all the time. And he was like, and what did he say? And sometimes you're a bit bossy. You know, my mum was like, it's actually really healing. My mum said something. She goes, you're the woman I've always wanted you to be. Oh. She goes, you go after what you want. You get what you want. You're kind. And she goes, and you're a fighter. You will argue and you're happy to argue. And that's who I am. But when I came online, I tried to be like the conscious, soft little like coach and blah, blah, blah. And it's not me. So if you're out there and you're like, I don't know who I am and I need to figure it out, go and ask your parents. Go and ask your cousins. Who were you as a little girl? That's going to be a really good indication of who you actually are. You've just lost that along the way.
Yeah, I love that. And we're done. Gemma's giving me the wrap-up signal. So we want to say thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you if they're wanting to know more about what you do?
Just on my Instagram, honestly. Dijana Djukic, I think it is.
We'll pop it all in the show notes.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes. But yeah, just honestly there.
Discipline-based, dangerous.
Membership, tell us all.
Yeah.
Tell us everything.
We've got two main things. We've got our retreat. So we run in-person events full-time. And they're unorthodox, to say the least. You will look at them and be like, oh shit, fucking hell. But when people kind of understand the concept of things, they realize that like, okay, cool, there's merit to this. You know, for our retreats, we wear weight vests for 3 days straight. And people might look at that and be like, what? All day? And I'm like, yeah, all day. You will shit with that weight vest on, motherfucker. You will piss, you will eat, everything. And it's like, why? And because so many women hold themselves back and they don't realize that they're holding themselves back. So I'm going to make you feel it. And I'm going to make you feel it and I'm going to let it rub your neck and it's going to be so uncomfortable. And when you wake up in the morning, you put that weight vest on, I want you to actually feel somatically in your bones what is actually holding you back and how much harder you make your life. So yeah, they're very unorthodox. So when you see the Instagram, you're like, what the fuck is going on over here? There's context to a lot of the things that we do. And then discipline-based is my membership. So it's incredible. It speaks for itself. It's rooted in 3 core pillars: self-respect, self-discipline, and self-regulation. So that's what we work on. And whether you're in business or not, and you're just an average girlie who wants to live a really healthy life and do it from a holistic lens and actually do it sustainably long-term, that is the place for you. We have daily boot camp workouts, which every single day a new activity comes out. Some days it's a workout, some days it's not a workout, some days it's a sexual embodiment practice, because I want to make you healthy from a holistic lens, mentally, sexually, spiritually, emotionally, physically, environmentally, all the different things. So it will keep you on track with that. And also it's just like a lit community. My ethos is I hate woo girls. I can't stand it. Every woo girl is actually a girl hater behind the scenes. They just don't want to admit it. And I've been doing this for 8 years. Girl has seen the woo girls are not wooing behind the scenes. So my ethos is like, we're a fucking real community. You come in here and you decide to win. And you don't have to say anything. You just got to keep sharing your wins. Because the more that you share your wins, the more that I am going to keep moving forward. You don't have to tell me to keep going. You don't have to tell me that I'm slaying. Win. That's how you're going to tell me that I'm slaying. So yeah, that's our ethos is you win, I win, and that's true community.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my story and that's who I am.
And I'm inside discipline-based side note and it's fucking elite. Thank you so much for joining us today. For anybody listening, make sure that you go and follow Dij on all of her social media, like and rate this podcast 5 stars, and we love you. Bye.
Bye.